Hello, welcome to Bananaball Comes to Houston and Other Ideas. As you may know, the Savannah Bananas recently went to Houston and sold out their first MLB stadium in the Houston Astros Minute Maid Park. I happened to go because I had tickets and I was close by, and it was a lot of fun. Of course, like all Banana games, it's the second one I'd gone to at this point. They make you wait outside the stadium, and there was an exceptionally large crowd. This is just the K Club section. But I was somehow lucky enough to be at a spot where the parade would actually stop and dance in front of us. We had taken some friends with us, and they had invited their neighbors who had a daughter. She first heard that we were going to a baseball game and kind of got disappointed because all she knew was the Houston Astros. And to be quite honest, I guess their games aren't that fun for kids. But this game, on the other hand, was different. This parade, this band, the Banana Nanas, the Dad Bod cheerleading squad, a giant banana humanoid, and a Princess Potassia. There was so much stuff to see there that she actually enjoyed this game a lot more than any traditional baseball game, which I guess is a lot better experience for kids. This game and this show is basically written for general audiences. It will have some adult humor in there, but its innuendo is so heavy that children will not understand it and it'll go right over their head. However, adults will understand it. It'll be real fun, but they also have a lot of stuff geared towards kids. And that's why I say a general audience show is a very difficult show to write as far as what type of humor you put into it. But we had a lot of fun with this game and this team. They are a lot of fun. They are very energetic. They are famous before they should ever be famous. And by the time, of course, we go into the stadium, I managed to see a celebrity who's only a celebrity in Bananaball. And that, of course, is this guy. He was at the Sugarland game the previous year celebrating his 91st birthday. I happened to see him walking around. He was in the K Club with us, and I happened to see him walking around. Ask him, "Hey, was this you at this game last year?" And I didn't have the picture on my phone at the time, but I realized he was sitting pretty close to us, so I went up to him after I found the picture, and he was kind of delighted to see himself as a celebrity. Now, I'm a social idiot and managed to not introduce myself properly or get his name, but I did give him my card and let him know I would be producing this video, so if you guys are watching, if you can make a comment if you want your story to be known, or if not, you want to remain anonymous, you don't have to leave a comment. But they did the traditional pre-game ceremony stuff. They did the banana baby ceremony, which they present the newest newborn baby in a banana costume to the theme of the Lion King, where they present Simba in that movie. Same type of ceremony. Goes on every game. It's fun. Every pre-game there is so much distraction that it's hard to keep up with everything. The friends we brought had never seen a Bananaball game in full on YouTube. Had only seen clips on TikTok, did not know what the whole game would be like, didn't realize the mascot would be on an e-bike moving around the stadium, and didn't realize there would be dancing and flips and all sorts of things to look at, all sorts of distractions. It was so much different than your average Major League Baseball game that it was very entertaining, and the kid was not even bored. Now, we did happen to get a cameo appearance by Roger Clemens and old pitcher Roy Oswalt. Guys way past their prime, guys in the 60s. Playing baseball. Interesting to see, of course, but that's what's so great about Bananaball is they get celebrity endorsements all the time. These guys from Major League Baseball come in here, and they tell you for a fact, if in case you didn't know, to the untrained eye, as much as these guys might look like a carnival act in the Harlem Globetrotters, they are legitimate ball players. And that brings me to a question. There's way more demand for Bananas tickets than there is supply. How can we fix this? Well, what if we had a league? Let's just say we add one more team this next year. We already had 3 teams. The third team's kind of a ragtag situation for when the Bananas get a challenger game. They could run a second game in Savannah against the Party Animals with the Firefighters. But if we had a 4th team, we could have 2 legitimate tours going on. We'd have more cities that would get seen, and we could swap teams during the tour so that there's some variety of games. And I know we don't want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg, but I'm thinking we have more geese laying more golden eggs. And if we need an example, if we need a test to see if serious Bananaball, where we're just playing real competitively, would work, there is a amateur baseball series called the NBC World Series. Doesn't really make money, but then again, it's not designed to. But it's a tournament in which amateur players can form ragtag teams. You mostly have college players, and amateur baseball teams can participate. But there's been some high school teams made up of high school kids that have participated in this tournament. If the Bananas were to do something similarly up in Savannah and sold tickets to it and broadcast the games live on YouTube, and maybe, I don't know, we could have Josh and Biko commentate, I think people would watch those games. Just put the games in Savannah, have a tight schedule, try to maybe change some rules up to make the games faster without any distractions like dancing and songs and dance and carnival shows. These games would end probably in an hour and a half, maybe even an hour if we did alternating batting order. That's just an idea for next year, but eventually you're going to want to have an actual league, maybe more than 4 teams, something that you could position them so you could travel by bus to save money, and maybe still have a tour with a couple of the teams. Put 2 teams as touring teams, and you can go to all stadiums, all sorts of baseball stadiums around the country, including stadiums that haven't had baseball in a while, including stadiums that aren't really designed for baseball, like the Alamo Dome. The Rangers and the Astros did a preseason series there. Maybe you could do what the Dodgers did and try to put a game at USC. That'd be something interesting. If the Bananas could sell that out, that would be a spectacle. Maybe force a game into Green Bay. I don't know if they would even allow that, but there's also the idea you could have a State Fair of Texas game at the Cotton Bowl in September in between the football games. Just put the baseball field out there. I'm sure it could be done. Maybe have a game at a racetrack. That would be interesting. There's all sorts of ideas, of course, you could do with the Bananas organization and a league that plays Bananaball. If you had 8 teams, I have some ideas specifically. Every team needs to have a theme, needs to have a song that you sing in the 7th inning. You're trying to match what the Bananas already do, but with each team having a different theme. We sort of saw what the Party Animals theme was last year. They kind of stole from 1990s WCW and had the Party Animals act like the NWO and take over. But let's say we had a team that was nothing but the Travelers. Maybe we call a team the Travelers, and that's all they do. They never have home games. When they do have home games, they do it at a different stadium each time, so you basically get to explore different cities, set up a 3-game series, and maybe eventually we could expand to 16 teams and have a real bona fide championship, a real playoff system. Maybe have 2 divisions of 8 teams, have them have number 1 play number 4, number 2 play number 3. We could possibly have a team whose theme is that they're basically historical reenactors. I'm guessing the lore that we can describe them as they came back from an alternate timeline back in 1890 when the Panic of 1890 never happened in their timeline. So without the Panic of 1890, there wasn't a lot of social pressure to even force baseball to bring up the color line. So in their universe, the color line never happened, and baseball players were given merit like they were in the 1890s, and there was never any gentleman's agreement barring the participation of players of any race from playing baseball. And so you kind of got this Field of Dreams lore where they come from an alternate universe where the Negro Leagues were never a thing and everybody was united. And I guess that's kind of the idea, is that you just have a history team that does nothing but present the history of baseball, wear interesting uniforms, encourage their fans to come out with interesting fashions, promote different things, have songs and music of that era, have maybe little debates of that era, things like that. Just some little history lessons. You could kind of form that into an entertainment idea. There's different dances they do. Maybe have the umpires dressed differently too. There's all sorts of ideas. Baseball loves embracing history, so why not have a team whose sole purpose is to embrace that history, but from a viewpoint of they don't have to get in the controversy of history, and they don't have to promote the previous things of history because, well, they come from a different timeline where that didn't happen. So, get the different equipment, get the umpires dressing differently, and this could be any era. It doesn't necessarily have to be your great-great-grandparents or your great-grandparents or your grandparents' era. Could be your parents' era. You could go from the 1930s, 40s, 50s, have a night where you invite classic car enthusiasts to the stadium to have a car show, some sort of thing like that. But you could do a different era for every game they have. You encourage men to wear straw hats, encourage women to wear a certain fashion of that time period. If you do happen to wear that fashion, you get to be put right behind home plate where you'll be seen prominently on the YouTube broadcast. And imagine just guys wearing suits and straw hats or bowler hats to a ball game. It would be pretty interesting to see a crowd of men dressed like that at a ball game. I don't know why, but just something like that. I think adults love to play dress up. And like I said, you can also do this for the 1960s and 70s. You encourage certain fashions. You can encourage players to wear outdated fashions, have different beards, different hairstyles that are no longer popular. I mean, you could do all sorts of things. You can encourage certain mustaches to be grown. That would be the thing, and play music of certain eras for that night. Maybe one night's the 60s night, so you have a doo-wop broadcasted over the PA system. Maybe you encourage barbershop quartets to come to the old-timers games. It would be a real celebration of history, reenactment. Possibly you can get a ragtime piano musician to come out. Real interesting idea, a very fun thing, maybe some jazz musicians, all sorts of old music could be promoted when the old timers are playing. And it's something to give you some reflection on history and teach history lessons, maybe have old style marching bands. There's all sorts of ideas that can be done with the old timers. And of course, classic car enthusiast night. Definitely encourage people to bring their classic car collection to the games. Something about audience participation, something the Bananas do well at already. This team would just amplify it up to 11, I believe. That's just an interesting idea. Of course, you wouldn't promote everything that was promoted in the past. Obviously, you're not going to encourage people to smoke or dip chewing tobacco. And maybe you could hire some announcers for this team whose sole job is to act as if it's the 1940s and get that 1940s radio-style voice going. If I could do a good impression, I would, but I'm not going to bore you with that. Maybe we encourage the heckler to come back, and that is always something, a tradition of baseball, is to have somebody heckle the batter. Great idea. Basically, the team would just be in all around encouraging this type of art style that was in the King Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball video games manual, where they had all this old style, not turn of the century baseball in there. And of course, for the kids, this team would basically encourage and bring back and revive certain types of play that children used to do. Maybe you introduce them to the ideas that were covered in these books. And basically maybe bring back old style toys, old style games, teach different games during in-between inning segments. Things that used to be done that are no longer done by children. Different games, different things that used to be done, like playing with a hoop and a stick. Teach that idea, because at this point I'm not even sure, this would be something new to me, because as a kid I didn't know how the heck to play this. Maybe teach everybody to play jacks again. There's all sorts of different things the old timers as a team can do. Their theme just is immense, and you could do all sorts of creative ideas with this team. And basically they don't have a home stadium. Every stadium they go to, they travel somewhere else. Now there's one city in particular, if they had to take a test, and it was the Nolan test, and it's not this Nolan, no, not that Nolan, the Nolan chart is what I'm talking about. They would probably be on the exact opposite quadrant of the Savannah Bananas. Not sure where either one of them would be placed, but I have a general idea. Anyways, the Bananas would be promoting life and promoting children being born and promoting foster families. And of course, the Portland Pickles have a Planned Parenthood billboard out in left field, so they're kind of the exact opposite quadrant. As far as general audience shows, they kind of don't write for a general audience. Dylan T. Pickle more or less has a lot of adult humor in them. But overall, I think as far as embracing Bananaball, if there was a baseball team I think could do it, an organization that could do it, it would be the Pickles. They have their own memes. They have a rally gator, which is an inflatable pool gator they love to race with when they do a race with the mascot. They also will raise that, I guess, in the rallying cry if the team's behind. I don't have any evidence of that in this video, but that's what I'm guessing they do. When their team does score, they have this idea where some of the section of the stadium is nothing but lawn chairs, mostly the outfield. So when their team does score, they will put a raised chair on the broadcast. That's something, this team has a lot of their own memes, a lot of their own ideas, a lot of their own culture already built in. So if they were to switch to Bananaball, I think it would be a great fit. Though you probably would have to advise them how to write for general audiences, because at the moment they are a little crude, they are a little crass. But as far as embracing Bananaball, I think they would be able to do it. And it's something that I've asked them, one of the broadcasts that I happened to catch of their games when the Bananas weren't playing. I did make a few comments. The broadcaster knows, so I'll let him go ahead and speak.
Well, BSN, if you can talk them into coming out and hanging out, we got a stadium here. I mean, occasionally the lights go out, but not until 12:15. 1-0 pitch on the way, swung on and missed. Swung through a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Count evens up at 1-1 on Evan Cloyd. Cloyd from Cal Poly. Well, friend, if you can get the Bananas out here, we will gladly play the baseball against them. Can't imagine this organization turning down that opportunity. 1-0 pitch.
So yeah, another team I'd like to bring into the league if I was able to convince enough people to be investors with me would be to bring our Fort Worth Cats back. They once existed as an independent ball club, but unfortunately traditional baseball just doesn't sell. There was nothing wrong with their stadium. They had a good mascot. They could easily be written into Bananaball. We could do the same type of ceremony, introduce the newest member of the litter by putting a baby in a kitten costume and raising it up the same way. We could label all the restrooms male litter box, female litter box. It'd be fun. Our stadium is in a good location. It exists already. It's just at the moment they haven't had a tenant in about 10 years. It is south of the stockyards and north of downtown, so Billy Bob's is close by. We have a lot of interesting places. Most of the city could get to this stadium pretty easily. There's a train that runs from downtown Dallas to downtown Fort Worth, and I'm pretty sure we can get Trinity Metro to run a bus from the bus station or the train stations to the stadium. It is north of downtown, very nice area close to the Trinity River. Good views of the stadium or of the downtown from the stadium. There's a drive-through movie theater right next door, so we have all sorts of social media content to film. We have a water gardens they could take team pictures in and do videos of. Very interesting place for a ball game, but unfortunately at the moment, 10 years since they've had a tenant, so the stadium is in pretty bad shape right now. It would take a lot of elbow grease, a lot of cleaning up, but we could bring it back. And if brought back as a Bananaball team, we could also put some more bleachers in the outfield and raise the attendance. We'd have about the same as Grayson. Now, you're probably asking, if we did have a league, what could possibly go wrong? And there's some very serious problems that we could be facing. Number one being that Major League Baseball has started to accept change. They've started to modify their product. They've recently had some radical rule changes that probably did not please the stiffs that used to control baseball. The stiffs are somewhat dying off. They still have a major hold on Major League Baseball, but the thing is with Major League Baseball, when they go to other countries, they don't let the stiffs control the game. They make it a little bit more fun. They embrace what foreign countries have done and presented in baseball. They don't do the same nonsense they do in the United States, where it's this boring game that only boring people who have had enough money to go to summer baseball camps and play in AAU get to participate in. Is very much a poor man's sport, especially in Japan. The game is heavily subsidized like American high school football is, and they produce their best athletes to the game of baseball. It's something the United States has failed at for the past 30 years, and something if we got back into, maybe we could win the World Baseball Classic. But when baseball is presented by other countries, they don't do stiff stuff. They make the game fun. They encourage fun. Their announcers aren't boring. Their announcers aren't acting like they're announcing the PGA Tour. They are announcing a baseball game. They make it fun. They make it exciting. It's something we haven't done in the United States. We haven't really tried. But my worry is that Major League Baseball will see the success of the Savannah Bananas. And if the Savannah Bananas start forming a serious league and playing this game seriously, they potentially have a problem where they could take over Major League Baseball. And if this happens, well, not Major League, if they take over minor league baseball, if this happens, Major League Baseball will intervene. They will change the rules of baseball. They will steal enough from the Bananas to be as popular, if not more popular. And they will do everything they can to kill off a Bananaball league. This is something that would be worried about. Now, the only evidence we do have of this being able to happen rapidly, I would say it'd probably take at least 10 to 20 years for them to do it. So we're probably safe for that time period if we were to have a Bananaball league where Major League Baseball doesn't initially start changing their game up to copy the success that the Bananas have in making the game a lot better. It's my opinion the circus show is nice. It draws a lot of fans in, but the real issue is, I think the real gold is the changes they've made in baseball. The fact that baseball can be this interesting when played under these rules is something that I think needs to be explored further. That's why I think they need to run that amateur tournament similar to what the NBC World Series does, just to see if Bananaball played in a serious manner would be a draw, if it would bring ticket revenue in, if people would watch it on YouTube, if people would show up to the games. My guess is that they would. At least if I was given the opportunity, I'd definitely buy a ticket to see two teams who aren't the Bananas or party animals play each other in the game of Bananaball in a way that was taken seriously. I don't think the sport's absolutely perfect at the moment. I think there's a lot of rules they definitely need to fix and change before they really get serious about it. But I think the real gold is not necessarily the fact that they do have a circus that's on the field. If they removed that element of it, I think people would still be buying tickets. The game stays close. You don't have blowouts as often. You have more close games. And that is something in North American sports is a value that is highly praised. It's one of the things that got American football over a lot faster with people, was that close games and last-second finishes are something that we demand to see as sports fans. And it's something Bananaball gives you with the showdown. There's something magical about having only one fielder out there forced to chase the ball, and you're forced to get inside the park home run. If you get an outside the park home run, it seals the deal. It ends the game early. The showdown is probably the most interesting aspect of Bananaball, and if put it in a serious competition with other teams that don't necessarily dance in between innings, I would love to see it happen just to see if people would watch it. I think there's definitely some value there. There's a lot of compelling interest in these showdowns, and it's where the game gets really competitive with these guys. They stop pulling around, and they get real serious when a showdown happens. There's something of just athletic prowess that has to happen, chasing the ball that far, making a long throw, being against the runner. There's something just absolutely compelling about this competition. And if they ever had a league, they could have their own all-star game, which could be after the season's over, which would probably be much better than in between the season as Major League Baseball currently does it. And instead of having a home run derby, I'd much rather have a showdown derby. Just have a bunch of teams, a defensive representative, an offensive representative, play in this little derby where we see who gets the most showdown runs, just in, I guess, a 10 showdown period or something. Some type of competition similar to a home run derby, but I think people would tune in. I think people would watch it. There's just something so compelling about the idea of needing only one out, and you put your best pitcher, your best catcher, and the other team puts their best batter on the field, and we see who wins. Something about an empty ballpark is you just want to stop what you're doing and watch. And the fact of the matter that they do occasionally get an out is something very interesting to me, something that really, really works very well. And I just can't stop watching it. I hope every time a game happens we get this situation, because it is very interesting. So if we did have a serious league, if we did get that many teams together and Major League Baseball continued letting the stiffs control the sport, I think minor league baseball would eventually become a Bananaball thing. I think the best pitchers and catchers would gravitate towards the league, since it really highlights their skill. A pitcher can't throw ball fours. It can't be lazy. A catcher must prevent pass balls from getting by them, because you can steal first. The idea that if you throw a ball four, that every other member of the defense has to touch the ball before you can get the runner out. There's some compelling issues there that would make this game exciting to watch, and I think the league would flourish. I think it'd be very profitable. I think the players would start getting decent salaries, better than AAA salaries, and that would be where minor league baseball would eventually have to morph into Bananaball, and Bananaball would be threatened as a business. And as far as how long that would take to accomplish, I don't know. The only good thing we have is that the spirit of the stiff rule culture of baseball, the unwritten rules, the you shall not do this, you shall not play the game this way, you shall not play the game in this manner, that culture is still extremely strong in baseball, and I think you would have a good period of time to really run this experiment where you change the rules and you made the game far more compelling for the fans. And Bananaball is a great answer to that. I would love to see some more talent enter into it. And if you had a league, I think that's what you would basically get. You would get the best pitchers and catchers, no doubt, but I think then you would start attracting the best first base prospects. The idea that you can get famous in Bananaball and be unknown in AAA is a big pull. If we did have a league doing this, I don't think it would be too long of a matter of time, maybe a 5-year period, where you'd start seeing the best prospects try out for a Bananaball team in their area. And I think ultimately it would win. It's just a matter of how long would Major League Baseball take before they told minor league and their league to change the rules up, because this rule set for baseball is just that much better. That's a question I don't know the answer to. I don't know how long it would take, but I definitely know that the Bananas, as an organization, as a rule set, has grown immensely. People want to see it. They have way more demand than they have supply. They keep the tickets artificially low for their own ideological reasons, and one of the things that's done is it's created a market for scalpers. Scalpers love the bananas. They love getting the tickets and reselling them and selling them for a much higher markup. And the thing is, people are buying them because they want to see this type of baseball played. So if we had a league, we could probably ruin the scalpers time period on that. I don't think they'd have as many scalp tickets as they do now. There'd be a lot more supply, much more people who are completely normal and oblivious to the idea that you have to purchase tickets a year in advance to see a Bananaball game. I think more of them would go. I think you would sell more Major League stadiums, and I think you could do it with less of a show. You wouldn't have to worry about the song and dance aspect of it. I think that if you did run that experiment where you saw amateur teams playing this sport seriously, if it was to sell, then you know you don't need to have an over-encompassing entertainment plan for each game. You could sell games with a lot less entertainment options, and you would probably get just as many ticket sales. And I think it would ultimately make a lot of money for the players, a lot of money for the league itself. But like I said, there's always something to fall back on if Major League Baseball does do that. You can go back to a carnival act. You can go back to having players play on stilts. You can go back to having trick plays that may or may not work. The minor league system itself is trying to think that all you have to do is just give yourself a cool theme and a cool name, and you're seeing a lot more teams changing their name and really embracing a set of theme. I don't think any of that is the answer. I think it's really the rule set. The rule set is what makes Bananaball great. If they were playing traditional baseball, nobody would be showing up to this. They would be leaving the games early because traditional baseball just has way too many blowouts. So if you like this video, do hit the like button, do subscribe, and I want to thank today's musicians, and I'll see all of y'all next video.